October 2008. As Lehman Brothers collapsed and the global financial system teetered on the brink, an anonymous figure called Satoshi Nakamoto published a 9-page paper that would change money forever. But there was a problem. Bitcoin was supposed to be digital cash, but with daily price swings of 10% or more. You couldn't buy coffee with it without risking your purchasing power disappearing by lunch. A merchant accepting $100 in Bitcoin might find it worth $90 or $110 by the time the transaction settled. This is the story of how a small group of visionaries solved the volatility problem and accidentally created the backbone of a $214 billion industry that processes more transactions than Visa. This is the untold history of stablecoins. By 2013, it was clear Bitcoin had a fundamental problem. While it proved digital money was possible, its extreme volatility made it useless for what money is supposed to do: store value and facilitate trade. Crypto exchanges faced a particular challenge. They needed to price digital assets in stable terms without maintaining traditional banking relationships, which banks were reluctant to provide anyway, viewing crypto as too risky. Meanwhile, in countries with hyperinflation or currency controls, citizens desperately needed access to stable stores of value. Traditional banking infrastructure often failed to serve this need, but digital alternatives could potentially reach anyone with an internet connection. And as the first decentralized finance protocols began emerging, they needed stable units of account for lending and borrowing. You can't run a financial system when your currency's value changes 10% every day. The solution seemed obvious: create digital assets that maintain stable values. But how? June 2013. A young entrepreneur named Dan Larimer was wrestling with Bitcoin's limitations. Known online as Bitemaster, Larimer had a crazy idea. What if you could create a digital token that stayed pegged to the dollar, but without needing any actual dollars? Larimer's solution was elegant in its complexity. Users could deposit Bitcoin or other crypto worth $170 and receive $100 worth of BitUSD, a new token designed to always trade at exactly $1. The extra $70 served as a buffer against price volatility. Smart contracts would automatically monitor the collateral. If crypto prices fell too much, the system would automatically sell the collateral to protect BitUSD holders. It was like having a robot banker that never slept. On July 21st, 2014, BitUSD launched on the BitShares blockchain. It was the world's first stablecoin, though that term wouldn't be invented for years. For nearly 4 years, it worked. BitUSD maintained its peg through multiple market cycles. But in 2018, during the worst crypto crash in history, the system finally broke. When Bitcoin fell 80%, even 170% collateral wasn't enough. Today, BitUSD still exists, but trades around 80 cents. A permanent reminder that even brilliant innovations can fail. But Larimer had proven something crucial. Algorithmic stability was possible, at least temporarily. While Larimer was building complex algorithms, another team was pursuing radical simplicity. In October 2014, former Disney child actor turned crypto evangelist Brock Pierce announced RealCoin, later rebranded as Tether. Tether's promise was elegantly simple. For every digital token they issued, they'd hold exactly one real US dollar in a bank account. No algorithms, no over-collateralization, no robots. Just old-fashioned backing. On January 15th, 2015, Bitfinex became the first major exchange to integrate Tether. The impact was immediate. Suddenly, traders could hold digital dollars without needing US bank accounts. They could trade 24/7 without worrying about banking hours or wire transfer delays. Network effects kicked in. As more exchanges adopted Tether, it became more useful. As it became more useful, more exchanges adopted it. By 2018, Tether accounted for up to 80% of Bitcoin trading volume. But Tether's success came with controversy. The company was notoriously secretive about its bank accounts and reserves. Critics questioned whether those dollars actually existed. Academic studies found suspicious patterns in when new Tether was issued. Regulators took notice. The CFTC subpoenaed Tether in 2017. The New York Attorney General launched an investigation in 2010. The New York Attorney General launched an investigation in 2019. In 2021, Tether paid $41 million in fines for making untrue or misleading statements about its reserves. Yet despite the controversy, Tether not only survived, but thrived. Today, it's worth $139 billion and remains the world's largest stablecoin. Sometimes, market utility trumps perfect transparency. December 2017. As crypto hit mainstream consciousness and Bitcoin approached $20,000, a new project launched that would revolutionize stablecoin design. MakerDAO and its DAO and its DAI token. MakerDAO wasn't controlled by a company like Tether. MakerDAO wasn't controlled by a company like Tether, or purely algorithmic like BitUSD. It was a decentralized autonomous organization governed by token holders who voted on everything from interest rates to acceptable collateral. The system was beautifully complex. Users could deposit Ethereum as collateral and mint DAI tokens against it. Unlike BitUSD's fixed ratios, MakerDAO used sophisticated algorithms to manage risk, including automatic liquidations and adjustable interest rates. The real test came on March 12, 2020. Black Thursday. Ethereum crashed 50% in a single day, triggering massive liquidations across the MakerDAO system. Over $4.5 million in collateral was liquidated. DAI briefly spiked above its peg as demand for stability surged, but the system held. The smart contracts worked as designed. Unlike algorithmic experiments, MakerDAO had proven that sophisticated decentralized systems could survive extreme stress. Today, DAI has a market cap of over $5 billion and has become the backbone of decentralized finance. It proved that the future might not be about choosing between centralized and decentralized systems, but finding sophisticated ways to combine the best of both. As this first generation of stablecoins grew, a new player emerged with a different strategy. In September 2018, Circle and Coinbase launched USD Coin with a radical proposition. What if regulatory compliance was a competitive advantage rather than a burden? USDC promised everything Tether's critics wanted: regular audits, regulatory compliance, partnerships with established banks. It was the anti-Tether Tether. This compliance wave would define the next phase of stablecoin evolution, as traditional finance began to take notice of these digital dollars. In just 4 years, from 2014 to 2017, 3 fundamental approaches to digital stability had emerged: algorithmic complexity, simple backing, and decentralized governance. Each solved different problems and attracted different users. But this was just the beginning. In our next episode, we'll explore how stablecoins exploded into a multi-$100 billion market, and how algorithmic ambitions led to the most spectacular financial collapse in crypto history. How did a $60 billion algorithmic stablecoin disappear in less than a week? And why did Silicon Valley bank failure nearly break the world's most regulated stablecoin? Subscribe now for episode 2, Crisis and Evolution, where we'll dive into the spectacular failures that changed everything.